My name's Brittney. I was in the Army for 5 years, from 2007 to 2012. I'm also married to Joe. I was in psychological operations, which has recently been renamed Military Information Support Operations. We had the same job title, the same MOS, but we sort of did different aspects of the jobs. He was transferred to the company that I was in right before we deployed to Iraq, so I sort of knew who he was, but didn't have too much interaction with him. We were in different places. But I really got to know him sort of the last few weeks we were there as the new unit was coming in and we were training them up. He went to the Philippines twice before I was even in the Army, and then Afghanistan before I knew him. And he had the anxiety problems as sort of an effect from Afghanistan, where he saw a lot of action. Like you go to Iraq and then you come home, that transition, it just makes you a little more sort of irritable and paranoid and all sorts of things, because you're just not used to things like crowds or screaming children and like all those little things. And so it just kind of puts you on edge until you sort of ease back into it. So I think you do have that empathy, and I just know probably a lot more people on average that have these problems than the average sort of person in the populace, because I worked with a lot of guys, who had similar problems. When we first started dating and sort of got engaged, I was deployed to Afghanistan sort of a few months after that. And when I got home, he came down to visit, and just coming back to Fort Bragg in itself was a big trigger, because he'd sort of been so far removed as a civilian from a lot of those memories. And then he came back to visit me, and it just created a really big problem. And he actually had an anxiety attack when he was driving home. And so it's definitely trickled down now into sort of changes of scenery, being in new places. It just gives him that automatic sort of response of, every time I went to a new place in Afghanistan, something really bad happened. So he moved back sort of near where his family lives, moved back in sort of with his parents. I was still actively deploying and things, so it was better for him to have sort of that support network. Trouble sleeping was definitely one of the sort of initial symptoms of things that were going wrong. You can sort of see when people are anxious, they shake, or they sort of don't want to talk as much, or they sort of talk nervously in a way. So there's some of that going on. And for him specifically, he gets very sort of quiet. He doesn't want to talk about things, or he just kind of withdraws into himself. I think that withdrawal from family and friends and things is definitely one of the really big symptoms that becomes obvious to people who see them every day. It was definitely really hard. There's a lot of worry that goes with it of, like, oh, I know this is going on, so, I worry about how it's going to affect him. And there's just, especially when you're far away, there's nothing really you can do. You can talk to him on the phone, but I think that the counselor he had a very good rapport with her, and she was a really great resource for him. The counseling definitely helped, because it sort of gives him that introspective sort of thing. And a lot of the things that you need to do, the counselor is a very good guide to them, but a lot of them sort of need to be done on your own so they can guide you through. We definitely made sure that like everywhere we went there first, and sort of before he needed to be there for like a real like class or a meeting or for a house or apartment, sort of getting sort of the feel for it and getting used to it. So he was pretty comfortable with it beforehand, and really trying to make that effort of building good associations with the new places and make sure that I sort of check in. He is very open about it, so it's also nice for me that he is willing to talk about it. I think it's very important to realize they're definitely not the only one feeling like that, and that they just need to sort of take that one proactive step to get themselves help. So the only thing that you really need to sort of overcome that speed hump of like, where do I need to get, is just make that first phone call. And when you make that phone call, or you walk into a VA office, or whatever it is you choose to do to sort of reach out to somebody, I think that's the most important thing, is just, that 1 minute phone call is going to be the thing that sort of, can really help you grab that lifeline and get out of whatever sort of problem that you're having, and really start to take the steps that you need to take to make yourself better.